So now the mesh maps are baked and we can go on texturing this rock. So I've created some folders here, some different kinds of layer stacks that we can go through next. So I'm starting off with this one. So this one is very simple. There is I'm gonna deactivate this one. There is a concrete layer here, or it's fill layer that has concrete simple as the substance material. So this one, and then I have just quite simply created this filter in here. So left mouse button on this fill layer and add filter, and then let's pick the HSL perceptive filter. But before I do that, I'll tell you a bit something about what these filters are. So as you can see, there's blur, and there is contrast, there is sharpen. These are very familiar to you from Photoshop, for example. And this HSL perceptive is just hue, saturation and lightness. So what I have done here, I have just quite simply darkened this a bit, and then I have created a new layer. So I'm gonna deactivate that one. So a new layer with again the concrete simple, and then I have created a black mask for this. So let's do this. So I have a fill layer with concrete simple. I'm gonna create a black mask, and I'm gonna add generator mask builder. So it's got this pen and wrench in there. Let's click on that. Okay, now we are already seeing something, and yeah, so let's just fiddle with this now. I'll bump up the levels a bit. Okay, not that much, slightly less. Okay, looking nice. How about some grunge? Should I have it more in there? Anyway, so I'm not going to go too deep with this. So what I have just done is I've just quite simply gone and played with these sliders a bit, and until I was happy with what I was seeing. So this is a very simple layer stack. Of course, this is not a like anything final, but it serves as a good starting point, you know. So just a material on a fill layer, adjusting its lightness a bit, so taking it a bit darker, and then another fill layer with the concrete simple material and using the mask builder. Okay, so that's that. Then the next layer stack is or has been textured using mesh maps with a base material. So let's take a look at that. Okay, it looks like a hefty amount of stuff in there, but this is really simple as well. So again, I have just a fill layer in there with the same concrete simple. I'm gonna throw that fill layer away, and then next I've got this fill layer and this time I have thrown this curvature map. So I'm in the shelf in the project panel, and I have taken this curvature map in there. So let's see how that goes. Oh, and it's on multiply. This blending mode is on multiply. Oh. That's first of all, that's quite dark. Is it really? Oh, okay, yeah. It's really that dark. And then I have duplicated the same curvature layer or curvature map layer, and then put the blending mode to pass through. So here, and taken this visibility slider down a bit. Okay, so I'm gonna throw that away. Okay, then I have copied this concrete simple base layer here. I wanted to add some of that nice grainy height information there. Then next I have just again created simply a fill layer into which I have dragged the ambient occlusion, and then I changed it to multiply. Let's take the roughness away, so like so, and then I have duplicated that same layer to have it a bit stronger. Let's take a look at the base color only. So that's how it's affecting. Okay, let's go back to material mode, and then lastly, what have I done here? Okay, I've got a fill layer to which I have added the thickness map. Okay, and let's take a look at the base color. So there's the thickness map, and so what thickness map is, it's this map that determines how thin or how thick certain areas of the mesh are. So the thinner the area, the blacker it gets. So there are some really dark areas in here because it's quite steep, this angle here. Okay, so then I have changed the blending mode into divide. So it's inverting the effect. So we are getting these nice smooth highlights. But because in here the thickness map was very dark, it's of course now showing it very bright. So that's why I have created a white mask. So add white mask, then I have added a paint effect, and then I have just quite simply painted covered up most of that really bright white thickness map to have it more natural, like so. Well, that's just what I've done there. Okay, I'm gonna throw that layer away now, just activate that. So that's that layer then. So that's how you can achieve those kinds of effects. So there are many ways to pop up the edges and make shadows and so on. Let's take a look at what's next. Textured using base material, and lichen layers with masks. So what we have here is, well, just base material, concrete simple again. Then there is this again a fill layer with curvature map thrown in there, some HSL perceptive and AO map thrown in there. Okay, but this is not the main point. The main point is to check this, how this lichen was added in here. So again, I have created a fill layer. Then I went into the materials and I looked for this there's this medium Acarospora lichen. So that's what I picked there. Okay. And that's what it looks like when it's just used as it is offered. So we want to do a bit something to this. We want to have just, spots of this lichen in there. I mean, it's a nice material, but yeah, a bit too much. So now we create a black mask, and to this black mask we add this fill. We add fill, and then we find this grunge map. Grunge. Okay, that one looks like it. Perfect, yeah. Grunge map 4 has those spots around there. Okay, so now it's masking off most of the stuff, looking good. And then, in order to get them smaller, those spots, we are going here in the grunge map fill, and we're going to scale it up. Okay, something like that. But now we're seeing that it's very repeating. So next, add paint. Okay, and then just but not with white. We will change the color to black, and then just go about covering. I'm gonna put the size a bit lower, smaller, and just go about covering up and trying to not make it look too repetitive, and trying to use trying to place it in sort of naturally seeming places. Okay, well, something like that. Then what I have next, we could also change the color. So let's add a filter, and let's take this hue, saturation and lightness filter, and let's take down the saturation a bit first, the lightness up slightly. Now it's looking maybe a bit more Nordic. Maybe it could be a bit greener. Well, I don't know. Maybe it was okay. Anyway, that's what I've done here on these other layers. I've also made some darker lichen in there, and just placed it in different places, and painted different areas of this grunge map away, and so on. So just multiple layers of lichen with mask and this grunge map placed in the mask as a fill, and then added this paint effect to paint away some of the unneeded lichen. Okay, let's close that folder. Then here we have, well, this is actually something that I probably would not need to show to you because first of all, this curvature generator is not present in the Substance Painter versions that we have in school, but well, anyway, you can also do this with mask editor. So I'm just going to go, this was an experiment that I did quickly, and then noticed today in school that actually there is no curvature generator in the version of Substance Painter that we have. Anyway, so base color is just red, and I made it the roughness is I slid it to all black, so it's the roughness map is just pure black, and that's why it's so shiny. So do notice that we are practically just controlling these channels. So there's color channel, there's height channel, which is, well, not contributing right now in this layer anyway into the forms. Then there is the roughness channel and metalness channel, which is not affecting the mesh or the textures right now, with the material right now. And then there is the normal channel, and there is no normal information here any either. Okay, then next up we've got this slightly lighter red with a black mask and the curvature generator. So okay, I'm gonna just deactivate that, and I'm gonna create that curvature generator. So there. So with it we can just add these. Well, it's just essentially using the curvature map, or generating a curvature for the mesh based on the maps that we have created. Mainly, apparently, the curvature map. And so I just quite simply smoothed this up a bit, and then the next layer here is one where we got just quite simply slightly lighter tone of red again, or hue of red, and then this curvature generator yet again, and just sliding those sliders to get more contrasty highlights. But yeah, you can do this with mask editor together with the sharpen filter and blur filter. So you can just, blur the created mask, or you can sharpen it, and this way you can also achieve these kinds of effects if you needed to make some kind of a gemstone maybe, or something like that. Okay, let's hide that. Then next up is this is quite a hefty layer stack, and there's all sorts of stuff going on here. So let's scroll down, and I'm gonna deactivate all of these so that we can see one by one what I have added. So first of all I have created a fill layer and just chosen this mortar wall material here, and I was only interested in the here it is again as well. So I was only interested in the mortar wall normal information. So let's take a look at what that looks like. So mortar wall. Okay, So that's what it looks like, and as we can see, it's creating this slight variation into the shapes. There are some bumps in there, and I really liked that. So I just deactivated the color and the roughness and metalness to have only the normal information of this particular material. So you can do this kind of stuff as well. You can just use one channel of a material or smart material that you have at your disposal. Just one channel and work from there. Okay, so that's this folder, and then I just duplicated the folder to have it even stronger, and I also apparently adjusted the rotated the material as well. So let's take a look how that works. So as you can see, we can also have sort of decide where the height information or the normal information is being laid. We can scale it also if we want. So we can do all sorts of stuff, just take what we want from the materials and add all sorts of fun shapes in there. This is nice. Okay, so that's the mortar wall height folders. Then we've got this base color. So what do we have in here? First of all, I have to check what this is. So okay, so it's just a color. So I've just added this very light color in there. I have later on adjusted it a bit as well. So just checking what would look good in combination with all these other layers. Then next up is a fill layer with base color, and I have chosen this black and white spots 2. So let's take a look at that. So it's like that, this kind of a grainy spots. So okay, and then I have scaled it up. So originally like this. Okay, but then I just scaled it up a bit. It was somewhere like in here. Okay, so just adding some color variation, or yeah, and overlay. Remember to put it to overlay, so that it's being well overlaid on top of the previous layer. And then there is this subtle noise. So I have just taken this clouds. So let's take a look at that. So there is this clouds procedural, also kinda grainy, and then that one I have bumped all the way. The scale I have bumped it all the way from this to somewhere here. So it's adding this kind of a variation in there. I'm gonna change to the base color. So it's just that kind of a repeating pattern, but together with other materials it's not going to look so repeating anymore. Anyway, so that's the base color layer. Then next up Oh, okay, so here again I have done a similar thing as with this mortar wall material. So I have used the concrete simple material, and I have nicked only the height information this time. As with these, I picked the normal information. So I had liked what the height information in this particular channel looked like, and just, you know, threw away all the rest of the channels. Okay, then I duplicated it to get it even stronger. And then next up, edge wear. Well, this eventually didn't really affect all that much, so we'll just skip over it. It's just base color with some metal edge wear generator in there, and then I have sharpened that. Okay. And then there is curvature. What's this? So okay, so I have created a fill layer and thrown curvature map in there. So we're getting that kind of an effect. So together with the curvature map, as you already witnessed in here, it's just I've just used that and then adjusted the levels a bit. So that's here. So this one, and then just, you know, do what you want, you know. Okay, that's that. I'm gonna throw that away. Then again, there's this oxidation, bronze corroded material. So what I have done here is I have taken this bronze corroded material here. I'm gonna hide that. Okay, and there's tons of stuff in here, but I was only interested in the normal information of this material. So I checked what contributed to that and found out that it was this oxidation layer. So I just, oh, it was the height, not the normal. Okay, so then I just deactivate everything else and got rid of those, and yeah, got some nice surface detail there, something that I would not have had. You know, sometimes, you know, you just find something by accident and you're like, hey, that's actually looking quite nice. Anyway, so I'll throw this layer away now. Close that one, and then, well, we already took a look at this lichen layer, so I just copied the same lichen layer into here. So that's contributing those, and then we got this thickness map variation in here. Okay, so let's take a look at that. So now I'm in the only the base color again. So I'm gonna deactivate all of these layers to see what the hell is going on in there. So okay, so let's deactivate that and also toggle that off. So as you can see, yeah, it's the thickness map. So let's go here in the shelf, into the project, and so yeah, it's the thickness map. It's just a fill fill layer with the thickness map drawn in as the base color, and then I have just bumped this scale up oh, sorry. Wait a minute. Because it's an overlay, sorry. But it's still not showing. What have I forgotten now? Just cannot show that there. Okay, so yeah, we already saw what thickness map looks like. So it's so I just scaled it. Oh, I had it in 0. Anyway, so warp that a bit, so that's an effect. Add filter, warp, and just bump up the intensity, and then we'll add a black mask. And adjust the levels a bit, add this fill here, so it's fractal sum, fractal sum 4. Okay, getting a little bit of variation in there again, and adjusting the levels, and also remember to bump up this a bit, so it was somewhere like that. Okay, well, now it's not in the exact same position. Well, I'm just gonna duplicate this layer and then let's throw that one away. Anyway, so it's just a little bit of gimmickry with the thickness map as a base color, and warp to make it grainier or more distorted, and then having a black mask there. So a trick like that. And lastly, there is this, well, I just drew this this fill layer with rust fine as the material, so it's just an ordinary material. Here it is. Okay, and again, just mask editor and then warp. So okay, like so, adding some kind of dirt in there, and together all this stuff looks like that. So that's the base color, and let's check all of them together. So, well, I'm certain that you would come up with some other kind of ideas how to. I tried to sort of match the rock with the background here the panorama, or what's it called, environment. Yeah, anyway, so that's that. I'll close it, hide it, and then finally we've got this rock cartoony material. And well, I guess you could also do this a bit simpler, in a simpler way. I've been just using this AO map a lot here and so on. Okay, I'm gonna hide these. Okay, so firstly a base color, so just a gray, ordinary gray in there. After which some highlights. So this highlights layer is just a base color with the curvature map thrown in there. And then after that I have added just an ordinary paint layer in there, and added this HSL perceptive to it, and just lightening up of the whole this highlights layer a bit. And then in order to get rid of these things, I blurred it a bit, so it's just a basic layer with the blur, what's it called, the blur effect. And next up, a base or the base color is, or I have placed the ambient occlusion map as the base color, and then hue, saturation and lightness thrown in there. Then same thing again, experimenting. Also remember that you have to put multiply, because otherwise if it's normal it's just going to be the AO map. So multiply, and then I have decided to make it a bit more blue, and I have apparently liked it because I added another layer where I have adjusted the AO map to be blue with this HSL. So I've just, oh, and remember to change this mode to regular. So I'm gonna show what that means. So now it's perceptive, now it's regular, so you're not going to see much effect if you're not changing that. Okay, so just AO maps to get some shadows in there. So now just viewing the base color here, looking nice, but it's missing something. Let's check back to the material view, and so finally I have added just a fill layer with, again, gray base color. This time I have made it slightly lighter. I have added this HSL perceptive and just bumped it up a bit, and then black mask with mask editor to adjust how it looks like, how it's passing through the mask. So just playing with the sliders to get the kind of a look that I like. Okay, So there's that. So no hand painting or anything was involved in making this particular layer stack or texturing style. Just all the maps that are available to us after we have baked them. Okay, so that's that. That was a sort of a crash course of using this. So thanks for this.